hand and ask a couple of questions, or if you feel you've got questions throughout the presentation, feel free to ask them through the chat feature, and what we'll do, we'll go through those at the end. Okay, so I will hand over to Mario now, who will go through the presentation for us, and then again, like I said, at the end we'll go through the Q&A session.
Thank you.
So Mario, over to you.
Well, thank you, Tyson. Confirm that you can hear me okay?
Yeah, we can all hear
okay.
from the chat that we've seen through, so I think they can all hear us.
Excellent. Okay, well, thanks to all of you for participating today. It is my evening on Monday here in Florida. I live in Orlando, Florida, where actually we have our headquarters for Epygi now. We used to be in Dallas, Texas for years, but we now are based here in Florida, and I know it is your Tuesday morning. So what we're going to do is talk a little bit about the products and some features, and then we're going to jump into some usage scenarios, try to illustrate things that you can do with our product, makes it a little more interesting. We're also going to talk about products that are new in our roadmap, some brief mentioning. Actually, we have two products that are going to be, I believe, very interesting for many of you, and then essentially wrap it up at the end with Q&A, like Tyson was saying. So without delay, let's start a little bit about Epygi. We were founded in the year 2000 in Dallas, in Texas, and after about 2 or 3 years of developing VoIP products, we started selling it in 2004 under the Quadro brand name. And many of you who are familiar with it, we ran the Quadro for about 10 years, up until 2014, where we started selling the QX line, and eventually obsoleted the Quadro line. I mean, you can still get Quadro licenses if you want to expand, because there's plenty of Quadro products out there on the market, but we don't have any of the appliances for sale anymore. We replace them with the QX line. It is a private company. We're about 30 employees. Majority of them are R&D engineers located in Yerevan, Armenia. The picture you see there is a building that we lease part of the space in Yerevan, Armenia. We do the high-end design in the United States, but all the details are done out there in Armenia, and that includes the mechanical, the software, and the hardware. We're all designed in-house. We're not asterisk based, so all of the software is our own. Gives us the capability of being, creating changes in the software and special features that sometimes you don't get with the open source initiatives. And like I mentioned, the headquarters are now in Orlando, Florida, where I live here, and we did that since middle of last year. We moved from Dallas to Orlando. Some of our benefits, general benefits, is that we focus on IP PBXs and gateway appliances, and we're actually shifting from the IP PBX name into more integrated communication solutions. And the reason is that we intend to expand the product not only to include telephony functions, but grow into other areas, as you may see a little bit further in the presentation. We're compatible with pretty much anything that is SIP out there in the market, and we spend quite a bit of time testing many of those devices and those endpoints, in particular phones. So we keep on adding new phone lines and phone models, and we do testing with those vendors to be able to auto-config and plug and play the devices with our products as much as we can. The intent is to facilitate simple installations, make it easy for you guys to install those, but at the same time we offer flexible capabilities on the GUI of the product to create complex scenarios. So we're trying to balance that need for ease of installation in some instances with the flexibility of being able to do sophisticated scenarios for those resellers that are a little bit more advanced. There's some brands that I show there on the slides: Snom, Yelling, Polycom, Mitel, Grandstream. We also have Alcatel phones, Panasonic, Fanville, and we have recently added VTech to the line of phones that auto-configure. VTech brands themselves here in the United States as a separate product, not labeled as Alcatel or AT&T nowadays, and it's a global brand, and to us it opens up the market to be able to connect their phones with our devices. Configuration and maintenance simplified with it, like I mentioned, with a plug and play, or if you put the MAC address on our device, then we can also push in the configuration to the phone. Software upgrades are free from the channel portal. Actually, we recommend all of you to register in our channel portal, and you can not only get free software updates, there's product comparisons, there are case studies, there are application notes, and several tools. Many of them are free that you can download from the portal to complement the product line. We have very competitively priced and stable appliances. Our products have been in the market for a long time, and for many of you who have used them there in Australia, you know that they last quite a bit, and they're mature. So RMA rates are very low, especially with the QX line, where we're having less than a 0.4% across all of the products on RMAs. We continue improving those numbers. Very good tech support, not only from Alloy in Australia, who knows the product very well for years. We also have good support team in the US and in our labs in Armenia. And we can help you not only in technical questions, but if you want to dimension an opportunity and you're not sure about whether the Epygi QX can do it or not, we will help you with that, help you in configuration. And if you have a request for a software feature, we can even include it in our list of items to add in future releases. So that's an advantage of getting free software updates. You're always going to find something new at least once a year on the software that you don't have to pay, and it is actually those features that resellers have come back to us and ask us to add when we can. Okay, we're going to talk about the PBXs, then the gateways, and then some of the software functions. But essentially on the PBX side, these are appliances from 16 to 2000 extensions. They work, some of the models are hybrid. We do have FXS and FXO ports in some of the products, and then with the gateways you can expand on these, as well as other trunk connectivity with the gateways. The feature set is pretty much complete and the base devices, and we have some licenses that we sell for advanced features that I will mention a little bit later on. We can support surveillance, access control, and paging devices that diversify the offering, so that you're going to see that in some of the scenarios that we're going to illustrate. We include network and security functions. So for the low-end SMB space, these products are really good because they come with the firewall and the router in the box, so you can connect it directly to broadband, and you don't have to have a separate router for that. We can do VPNs. You can activate security functions like SIP intrusion detection. If someone is trying to do registrations or do phone calls through the PBX, we can block those IP addresses, include them on the block list, and you have to manually unblock them later on, and we can send you alerts and notifications that such is the case. So we have this other networking functions are always very welcome for a small installation. We have language packs for multiple countries, and like I said, these are modular, compact metal enclosures with an integrated power supply, very low power consumption. For example, the QX50 idle state is about 2.5 watts, so it consumes very little. Year after year, it's actually quite a bit of savings in power consumption. We calculated here in the United States, it will cost you about $6 to run a QX50 on an annual basis. If you have a 250 watt power supply PC running Asterisk, it's going to cost you 100 times more. So power is certainly something to keep in mind when you're using appliances for this kind of functionality. And we also offer redundancy, so you can have a main unit running all your functions and purchase a redundant unit with a redundancy license, and if the main unit crashes, a redundant unit will pick up the operation within a few minutes and you'll be back and running again. So that is very helpful for larger installations, like people that buy our QX 2000, most of the time they want to get a redundant unit for that purpose. So here are the models. Here we go. We have right now 3 PBXs, the 50, the 200, and the 2000, and we're showing there the MSRP here in the United States. The prices there in Australia are adjusted based to the importation cost, but it will give you an idea of the list price. The 50 is the smallest that we have currently. There's 2 FXS, 2 FXOs, has 16 extensions in the IP side with 16 simultaneous calls, and it also has an audio in and an audio out port, analog audio in, audio out, the audio in for music on hold, the audio out to connect to a paging system, and then on the back side they have an SD card connector for memory expansion. The 200 comes with 24 extensions. It has 2 additional FXO ports, and it is expandable to 200 with a license, while the QX50 is expandable to 50 with licenses. And then we have the 2000, which is a server-based product, starts at 200 extensions, over 350 simultaneous calls, expandable to 2000 extensions. And by the way, the QX200 allows you to do 64 simultaneous calls. So small, medium, and large type products, with the QX200 being kind of a bridge between that small enterprise and the medium enterprise, and obviously a 2000, a large enterprise type installation. Then we have our gateways, and generalizing on the gateways, a few items to mention. They include the router firewall functions that I mentioned earlier for the PBXs. If you connect them to our PBXs, they auto-configure, so you can see the expansion ports of the gateways in the PBX GUI, makes the configuration a little bit easier. They include an integrated auto attendant, and that comes in handy in certain installations. You can do also master-slave configuration, so you can designate a unit as a master. If you want to, for example, have a 4-port E1 gateway, buying 4 of the individual units and putting them on the rack kit, you can actually designate one as a master and the other 3 as a slave. And again, you can configure all of them through the master IP address. So not only can you do the configuration, but it will let you do a proxy of a calls if you want to do that, like use the IP address of the master to bring in all your IP calls, and then the master will send the calls to the designated slave trunks accordingly. So combining our gateways has a little bit of an advantage in that sense. Power redundancy, low power consumption, and failover phone registration. Now this last one is available on the E1 and the FXO gateway. The intention is for those customers that want to have a gateway for failover on a hosted platform. Let's say a company with a couple hundred phones on a hosted platform, they want to put a gateway with a trunk, let's say an FXO gateway, and use it for failover. You can activate that as a feature in our gateways. It is a license feature, and what it will do is I will let the phones do double registration, so you can register with the gateway, and in case of failure, and then the gateway will activate and it will let you do inbound and outbound calls from those phones. Now the inbound, it's very convenient, the fact that we have an auto attendant, because you can bring in those calls on those trunks, let the auto attendant answer, and then the customers can dial those extensions via 2-stage dialing, and you can channel to pretty much any internal phone. So it's very convenient, the failover for that kind of application. Here are the gateways that we have. We can only have 4 models, 4-port FXO, 24-port FXS. 4-port ISDN and a single port E1, and you can see the MSRP prices there. Now, on the ISDN 4, we also have an option. This is 4-port BRI, as you can see there, 550. We also have activated a license to make it a PBX. So if you still want to use ISDN trunks, you can convert this gateway to a PBX for another $350 and have essentially the equivalent of QX50 running on the gateway. Okay? We only have that available on the ISDN 4. Okay. Now comes the rack mounting kit. And there are pictures here of the front and the back. The rack mounting kit kind of puts everything together. It's $175 list price. It is a metal box that allows you to connect as many as 4 of the small units in the front and secure them with a screw on the back. And if you can look at the picture on the top, it shows you the back side of the kit. You can see there the AC power cord. You bring AC to each individual unit. And it also shows you a connector, 12-volt connector cable for auxiliary power. So you can actually use this for power redundancy. So you bring AC to either 1 or 2 units, and then if you have a power supply failure in one of the units or an AC failure in one of the units, then the adjacent unit can provide you the power. You can also get a notification email or SMS message if you configure so, that will tell you that the power supply has failed. So that's how we can achieve some power redundancy, and these cables come in with a rack kit. So the rack kit gives you 19-inch rack mount capability with a 1U form factor. The bottom picture shows you there a combination of a 200 with an FXO gateway and an FXS24 gateway. So rack mount kit puts it all together very nicely for you. Here, as far as functions are concerned, there are several features on the product. I'm not going to mention all of them because we pretty much have what you're going to find in most of the high-end products nowadays. So some of them, like Find Me, Follow Me, SIP tunneling, call relay, these are a little bit more unique features to Epygi. Most of these are described on our website in detail. You can have multiple auto attendants. You can have a time of day routing with our product. Actually, you can do activate. We just added night service activation that you can do via button on the phone, and you can have a BLF that would indicate if you're a night service, which is very convenient. For example, if you want to go from receptionist to auto attendant day and night type, and you don't want to do it on a schedule, you want to do it you pushing a button, you can use that as a feature. Remote extensions, those are very useful for people that have 1 or 2 employees that are not within the facility. Failover routing, if you have a route to go out via SIP trunks, but there's a failure, you can have a secondary route to come out of FXO port, for example. So many features. This is just a small subset. We also have some advanced features here, and some of these like iCall, which is essentially a callback application that you can have on Android or iOS. Essentially what it does is that you pick your contact list or you type the phone number on the application itself, and it will send that number to the registered QX device or Quadro device. It will call that destination number using your dial plan on the QX device, and it will call back your extension in your desk, and essentially or your mobile, if you want to, actually calls back your mobile device, and then it looks like you're sitting on your desk. So it's essentially ability to be able to do calls to your contact list from your mobile device using your QX PBX. There's an option to do mobile toggling. In this case, you can toggle between your mobile and your desk phone if you're either entering or leaving your desk area, and you don't lose that call if you're on the run, for example. We also have some other tools like QCC. that will let you manage devices. If you want to monitor several of these devices, QX devices for your customers, you can download this free tool under Windows, log into the devices, activate, reboot them, do configuration, saves and updates, activate new software. All of this is you can do it with this tool for free. It's a free tool, help you manage QX devices remotely. Anyway, the best thing is to go on our website and verify under advanced tools or software tools what we have available there. Here's another one, bulk extension config tool. This is in order to add extensions on like a QX 2000 or a QX 200. You do it via an Excel file, and it will make it easier than just navigating the GUI and adding extensions one by one. So you can do the name, the extension number, the email address of the extension user, and so forth. Again, it's a free tool that you can use with our QX. Now, enterprise features are the ones that we charge money for. In addition to expansion, we have several of them that are pretty much advanced functionalities. Not everybody's going to use this. So the first one, the ACD, it's essentially for call centers, automatic call distribution for inbound calls. So you can create queues, you can create agents, it can distribute the incoming calls using several different profiles. You can log in the agents to one or more queues. When they're logged in, obviously they're going to be in the group of phones that the incoming calls are going to be distributed to. So a very popular feature either for call center or a company that wants to have like a mini call center. They can use our ACD for that purpose. We also have an auto dialer for creating outbound campaigns, dial campaigns. It could be used, for example, in the doctor's office for dialing appointments automatically and playing pre-recorded messages and giving the opportunity for the callee to answer the call with using the keypad, you know, whether they're going to, based on the message that you play, for example, if you're going to attend an appointment or cancel an appointment, you can use those options on the auto dialer. Barge in is pretty much a complement to the ACD, lets a supervisor get in on a three-way call in many different ways, whether whisper, listening in, or just on a three-way call. And we have call recording for you can do all the calls, or you can do a specific inbound or outbound destination numbers. You can save those in local memory on the system, or you can download those to servers outside of the QX. And we have audio and video conference. And the audio conference and video, you can create several conference rooms. You can have passwords to get in this conference room. You can schedule conferences, so dial out automatically the participants. You can also have recording on the conference. You can have send email reminders that you have a conference. So it's a very full feature audio conference capability that it gets enhanced by the video conference option if you want to use video phones. And this gives you a very simple video conference experience with company participants. You're using video phones without having to buy a separate video conference system and have it in a separate room. So all of those are paid license applications that we have in our price list. This one coming up here, Epygi ACD Console, is a new feature that we added probably about over a year ago. It enhances the ACD. It is actually a web-based console for supervisors and agents in a call center. It lets you manipulate incoming calls on your phone through the application. It will let you do chats with other agents. It will let you do marquee or a supervisor put messages on a marquee that all the agents can see. For example, promotions or anything special that you want to let the agents know on the fly. It gives you all sorts of statistics for the queues and the agents, either at the agent level or the queue level. And obviously the agents can see stats of their own, while the supervisors can see the stats of all the queues that they're entitled to. It lets you download a lot of the statistics as a CSV file for post-analysis. It would also do wrapping code, so if you activate it once an agent hangs up the call with a customer, it gives you a certain amount of time to either activate or select predefined wrap-up codes, or it will do freehand. It will let you enter text to that particular call record. And all of this stuff you can download, either view online or you can download as a CSV file for further analysis after the call campaign. So it is available on all QX models. It is a license based on simultaneous logins of agents, and it comes with the ACD. So you can have agents that are still receiving calls via the ACD call distribution option, but they don't necessarily have to log into the EAC. So if you want to see a demo of this, we can schedule it with you guys, like a 1 hour with a simulated call generator. It's very cool interface. We are seeing an increased interest in this from many customers that want to run call centers and are looking for this kind of functionality. We also have a hotel console. This is a simple hotel application that you install under Windows. It will let you, it's pretty much intended for smaller independent hotels, those hotels that do not have PMS systems. So you buy this, install it on the Windows, and it will let you create, associate certain extensions to rooms in the hotel. You can check in, check out the guest, and it will activate, deactivate the extensions. You can create profiles of calls if you want to bill calls to the room for that particular guest during that particular time. So you can get a bill at the end of the guest stay of, you know, how much you spend on the calls. You can also use the phone in the room to change the status of the rooms, you know, whether it needs cleaning, it needs repair, or it is in use, and that can be done via the phone. So the cleaning people can go in, clean the room, go to the phone, have an access code, and then change the status to the room, and then you can see that on reception area at the console, and you know that the room has been cleaned, and it will help you, you know, reserve it or rent it out again. So it has some of that basic functionality. You can also have like minibar items if you want to include minibar or consumables in the room. You can do the inventory using the phone. Wake-up calls, do not disturb, and we're going to have language options. We have a Spanish option coming up for this very soon. If you want to see a demo, we'll also schedule up with you. Now, if you want to have like a PMS application like Micros Fidelio or something like that, we have a Spanish partner called Char that has a middleware that will let you pretty much connect our QX to any of the PMS systems out there in the market. Okay. Now, we do have some new features. Like I said, there's always a new software release bringing something new. And some of the latest releases, we have added a couple of features for free, notifications, both scheduled and dial. And what it does is you create extensions that when dialed, either by a dial on the keypad or maybe through a hot dial on a BLF button, what it does is that it will dial subsequently other extensions or go through the paging system, for example, and they will play pre-recorded messages that have been uploaded to the system. So they're very useful in alarms. In the case of the scheduled notifications, you can use them for ringing the bell in a school, and we do have scenario showing that later on. So notifications are new now on our software. And then the failover that I mentioned earlier for the gateway is also one of the new features that we have. And then this is probably one of the best slides of the day here, new devices. The pictures are not the best because I just created this slide today, but we essentially have two new PBXs on the portfolio, the QX20 and the QX500. The QX20 is below the QX50. It is going to be our low-end entry-level PBX. It pretty much has all the functions of the QX50 with the exception of the number of extensions and simultaneous calls. It comes with 12 extensions and 6 simultaneous calls, okay? So it's a 12 by 6 system. It's purely IP, no FXS, no FXO. He has a LAN and a WAN connector with router functions that the 50 has. And there's a third Ethernet connector and 2 USB connectors that are not are going to be for future expansion. We don't have any functionality when we launch this this month. Actually, it's the beginning of March. We're going to have it available. Has the audio in, audio out, and micro SD card port in the front for memory expansion. But it is $350 MSRP. Very, very inexpensive, very entry level, ideal to be used with SIP trunks. If you want to use FXO, then you're going to have to get either a ground string gateway or an Epygi gateway. Obviously, we prefer that you use an Epygi gateway, but you can use whatever you want. But you know, if you got SIP trunks, this is very nice, entry level, 12 extensions, expandable to 32 with license. And as far as simultaneous calls, you can also expand up to 10. We're going to have some new licenses available that are very inexpensive to be able to add additional extensions on this product coming up on the new price list. There's also it has an AC integrated AC jack for AC power, and there's also a 5-volt DC jack on the back that you can buy a 5-volt adapter from us if you want to use that as a redundant power. So our plans with this product is to expand on functionality. For the Ethernet port, it will give you the redundancy of the WAN port later on, and also on the USB, we're going to allow modules to be connected here in the future. But initially, there's no functionality on this connectors for the initial release. Then we have the QX500, and this is essentially between the 200 and between the 2000. There has been a big need for more intermediate product that was more affordable than the 2000, but it gave you more than 200 extensions, and the QX500 is the product that will do that. It starts at 100 extensions on the base unit with over 80 simultaneous calls for $18.95. And then it expands with licenses all the way to 500 extensions. And pretty much the same functionality as the QX200. Again, purely IP product, no FXS, no FXO, but with our gateways you can expand on it and create whatever you want. So again, these products are using the form factor of the 50, so it can go on the rack kit along with the gateways very nicely. Now, we also have some new partners. You can see some of them in here. We have added Leviton recently. They do have building automation type devices, the OmniTouch. We certify those with them and have a configuration guides how to configure. And these are wall mount type devices that do building automation like thermostat control, lighting control, maybe curtain control, but they also do intercom. And they also interrupt with Leviton door openers. And through the QX line, you can integrate to several of these devices using our product and interact between them and video or audio phones and external calls. So we also added VTech line I was mentioned to you earlier, and we continue to add more models for GrandStream, more models for Fanville. We also have the Mobotics line that they have surveillance cameras and door access control devices. So many of these partners, actually we're going to add some access cameras and door openers, and also Viking door devices. So we'll continue expanding on the partner list to give you a wider selection of products that you can, endpoints that you can connect with our product. So having said that, we're going to go to a few more slides of usage scenarios, and then we're going to go to the Q&A, and we'll be done with the presentation. So what we've done is put together some screens of some typical scenarios just to illustrate some of the features. This particular one is a small office, you know, a QX50 or 20 device, WAN and LAN connectivity. On the LAN side, we got a switch. In this scenario, we have a door opener. We have a Levitone device, a couple of audio, a couple of video phones, and a security camera. Actually, I'm not showing any video phone here because this is showing like VTech phones and lists, but you can have a, you know, a GrandStream video phone or a Fanville video phone in the mix. And then we're showing someone with a home office, you know, having a remote phone. So many things you can do here. For example, if you use Find Me, Follow Me, you can receive an incoming call to your extension, let's say 201, and you can either ring 201 simultaneously with your home phone and your mobile device. So you will never lose that call. You can answer the call with any of those devices, and if no one answers then, or you cannot answer, it can go to voicemail. We can also do door opener configured, so when you dial or push a button on the door opener, it rings several phones in the office, and then after if no one answers, then you can send it to a voicemail, or you can send it to a mobile device or a home phone. So you can pretty much take care of anybody that is at the door, even when there's no one at the office. Or you can also register security cameras as an extension. In this case, 204 is a security camera. It could be a GrandStream or a Mobotics or an access camera, and you can configure them as an extension, and then with the video phones you can access those cameras as an extension. Just dial them directly, let's say on a warehouse, and you can talk to the person directly underneath the camera and listen to them. So it's very useful in a warehouse to use the cameras to not only for recording but as a communications device. Now these devices you can also include, especially these cameras, as a paging, on a paging group along with a paging device, and be part of the paging group. So you can pretty much cover your paging needs by using the hands-free mode on a phone, or using the speakers on a camera, or let's say on an OmniTouch device. Here's another scenario. This is a multi-site scenario. Again, you can connect cameras in each one of those sites. You can access them remotely. Like for example, the people in Paris can actually see the cameras in Miami if you allow them to do so. But the most important part of this scenario is that you can connect all of these units with a unified dial plan and directly peer-to-peer. So you don't have to count on a central registrar or registration device to be able to call in between all your locations. So, you know, they're all configured so that you can go directly to the destination QX device and dial the destination extension. So if for some reason your unit in Bogota or your internet in Bogota is not available, you can still have Miami to Paris calls, no problem. But it also gives you the capability of creating a dial plan so that you can do outbound calls to the local PSTN in your location. So if you're in Miami and you have customers in Paris, you can dial from the Miami phone, the phone number of your customer in Paris, The Miami unit will send it to the Paris unit. The Paris unit will grab up a line and then inject the digits and call a mobile number in Paris, for example. So, and then the same thing can happen vice versa. You can have local customers in Paris dial in the Paris unit, go through the auto attendant, dial your extension 301, and the call will ring in your phone in Miami, and you can talk to your customer. So, very powerful connectivity capability that you can have, not only internationally but also locally, different cities in Australia, for example, with this unified dial plan. Now, call relay is usually illustrated here. For example, you can have a mobile device, and it could be a soft phone, or you can just dial in. For example, if you're in Miami, from your mobile device, dial the Miami auto attendant, and then you start to activate call relay, and from there you can dial any extension on your company, and you're essentially going through the QX device in Miami through your mobile, but then you're reaching out your colleagues in different locations, or you can even do dial a Paris phone number if you want and talk to someone in Paris. So you're going from mobile to QX to mobile again in that particular scenario. So very powerful using the unified dial plan. Here's a call center. Here what we want to illustrate is essentially that you can use either ACD or EAC software. In this particular case, it is installed on the Portland QX, but you have agents that are local Portland phones as well as remote agents that you may have in Seattle. So you may have an agent A and B that are phones in Seattle register as remote extensions to the Portland QX. And then as these agents log in and log out, they're included in the ACD call center group. And also these phones, agent A and B in Seattle, can be registered to the Seattle QX, and you can make outbound calls just picking up the local trunks of that QX on your phone. We also want to illustrate that you can have the audio conference activated in the Seattle unit, and then you can allow people in Portland to go to audio conference rooms on the Seattle unit. So you don't have to buy the license for both systems. You can just buy it for one system and then use it from any device or from any extension. Okay. We're also mentioning that the music on hold here using our Epygi Media Streamer. It's an application that will let you create playlists and MP3 playlists and just send them over to the PBX to be used for music on hold. Here we have a hotel, a scenario. In this scenario we're showing either our EAC, Epygi Hotel Console, or the CHAR application if you want to use a PMS. We're essentially illustrating that you can connect to a paging system with the audio out, or you have also combination of security cameras in the hotel that you can do paging or access through the phone system. We're illustrating the use of an E1 gateway to be able to go to the PSTN for regular PSTN calls. And for the rooms, you can use the FXS gateway. So if you want to use IP phones on the rooms, you still want to use cheap analog hotel phones. But as a matter of fact, VTech has analog hotel phones for that application. You can do it here with the FXS gateway and then combine with IP phones in reception area or the common areas or administrative areas, and then just use analog phones in the rooms themselves. So great solution using our gateways, our PBX, and our software for hotel applications. Here's a school application where the notifications may come in handy, especially here in the United States, where typically schools have phones, may have an IP phone in a classroom. You can configure a button, like a BLF button on a phone, as a panic button, and if they push this button, let's say a teacher in room 201 can push it in case of an emergency, and then you can play pre-recorded notification message in the administrative phones or through the paging system in the school, or you can even call a remote extensions and play the message. For example, a panic message like there's an emergency in room 201, or in the case of this horrendous shootings that we have been having over here, it could be for that purpose, and then management can act accordingly. Or you can use the schedule notifications and just use it to ring the bell. You program the at 8, 9, or 10, 1 or 2 p.m. to go through the paging system and through the phones and play already the pre-recorded messages allocated for those times. So that will give you a bell type ringing capability for the school, just using the feature that already comes in with the PBX. Okay. And finally, it was just a slide mentioning, just to illustrate that when you add the gateways to our PBXs, the ports, here we're showing a picture that you added an FXO gateway, and then you can see the additional FXO ports showing in on the PBX GUI for configuration. This last slide just illustrates the proxy capability when you're adding gateways. Now, this master slave on the gateways only applies when the gateways are of the same type. So in this case, we added 4 E1 gateways to the rack, designated one as a master, and the other ones are as slaves. And we want the master to receive all of the IP calls and then proxy the calls to the slaves accordingly to be able to go out of the E1 port. So you can either use 1 IP address or 4 IP addresses, depending if you want to proxy the calls or not. So finally, we're going to talk competitive advantages of Epygi. Essentially, everything is designed in-house. That gives us the ability to add additional features a lot easier than depending on the open source community. Free firmware and software updates for life. Once you register the unit with your serial number, you can just download new software from our website without any cost. Based on open standards, obviously SIP is the one that we use, and we're compatible with many brand IP phones, particularly all of this auto configuration and all of this testing that we do on these endpoints is very valuable. Good technical support, good training. We do web tech webinars. We can also schedule, and we do record some of those. And through your distributor, Alloy, you can get also training. We can actually schedule 3-day training in Australia. We haven't done that yet, but we're open to do it and bring in a trainer to Australia that can do the training for 3 days on site with equipment. The products are mature. Like I said, we've been on this business for 16 years. We know what we do, and they're quality products, very low RMA rate. You can do remote setup. Actually, not only can you do remote setup, but we can do remote monitoring. If for some reason you have a complicated issue, our support team can remote access a unit and keep it in a monitoring state for those hard to find problems. But honestly, nowadays we don't have that many of those issues anymore. Most of the issues that we get in tech support have been, understanding how to configure the product, and every now and then you may get a bug here and there, but most of it is configuration related. Low power consumption, redundancy, always new features, and integration with third-party hardware and software. So that's it. Here's some email addresses: sales@epygi.com for any inquiry. Mario Cuello, that's me, at epygi.com. Ashken handles our marketing. If you got any questions related to pictures and brochures and all that, they're all available on the portal, but you can certainly ask Ashken. Haran Vardanyan is head of our Armenian operations, also available for any questions. And Andy White does training, webinar training based in the U.S. and support also. He's able to help in any questions that you may have. Remember our webpage and remember our portal. Subscribe on our portal so that you can get emails, newsletters, and events that are happening. And we're on the social media, particularly on YouTube. We have several modules for the sales, for the technical trainings available there, so that you can watch at leisure, okay? We want to hear from you. You know, we want you to feel loved by our team, and if you want to have any demo, any presentation, particularly a call center or hotel, or if you want to learn about anything, just let us know and we'll schedule time with you to help you out, okay? So having said that, we're done and we're open to questions, if there are any.
Got a couple of questions so far. Sorry, Mario, we've got a couple of questions so far. One or two from John McDonald. One is, can we get a copy of the PowerPoint? Yes, absolutely. I can give you a copy of the presentation. We have recorded this as well, so we'll be putting a link to that on our website. And the other question from John was, are you looking at points of presence between bridged PBXs? So I'm going to guess, John, here that you're looking at, are we going to do cross-site presence? Is that something that we're looking at? So across multiple PBXs, are we going to see presence?
Yeah, we have, well, you know, the DCC, which is our receptionist console, it's the one that will have presence. It is, we're getting a lot of requests to update that interface, and we will do it, and that's where presence will probably be done across sites. We don't have it yet, but we have it on the list, and it's been requested a while back. We'll keep you updated on that, okay? By the way, the 50 and the 20 and the 500 are going to be available GA now at the end of February. Through Alloy, you're going to be able to get an updated price list. We're going to send it to Alloy actually the next day or so.
Yep.
So those products are going to be available like beginning of March, okay? But yep. Yes, back to the original question, we're going to do some presence update on the DCC soon, but I don't have a date for that yet.
Okay, now are there any other questions at all? We'll give it a couple minutes just while we sort of wait for any other questions to come through. I did want to let you guys know that we do have a promotion coming up. When you buy a QX PBX, you'll get a free conference key. Okay, audio conference key to go with that PBX. The dates for these promotions aren't set yet, so you will get notifications shortly after this presentation is finished. We will send an email to everyone and let you guys all know. In addition to that, though, if you buy 5 or more phones with any QX PBX, that's any brand of phone, you'll also get 10% off the price of the QX PBX that you're purchasing. So again, that's if you purchase a QX, you'll get the free audio license key, audio conference key, sorry, and as well as if you buy the PBX with 5 or more handsets, you'll get 10% off the cost price of the QX PBX. When is the next tech training? We need to sort of look at when we're going to be doing that. That's something that we need to sort of sit down and sort of go through when the next set are going to be available. If you're looking at going through some of that stuff, I know Epygi have a lot of videos on their YouTube channel that you can go through. If you need to sort of go through any of that, they do have their YouTube channel available with a lot of videos they have put up there. In terms of in-house training or something that we can offer, that's something we haven't sort of looked at setting a date for as of yet. But I definitely start with having a look at the YouTube videos at least.
Yeah, and Tyson, I think like I was mentioned to you earlier, we're open to setting up a tech training only for Australia at a comfortable time for you, since we're here. Yep. Typically, the ones that we schedule on our website are usually the middle of the night for you. We would like to extend through you an opportunity to do it at a reasonable time whenever you want, okay? And usually it's like a 3-hour training, and that will get you pretty much up to speed on the GUI and everything you need to know.
Okay. Now, how many IP lines can simultaneously be registered on the QX50 and the QX200 as opposed to extensions?
IP lines.
Yes. How many lines on the QX50 and the QX200?
Okay. There's
we're
two
looking at?
types. So yeah, there are two types. There's extensions that you can create, and you can create these virtual extensions, meaning they don't have any phone, any IP line
Yep.
associated with it. So virtual
Yep.
extensions, you can create a lot more than IP lines, but the IP lines are pretty much what the capacity of the unit is. For example, the 50 has 16 extensions. That means you can register 16 IP lines, and then if you buy the license, you can go all the way to 50. Okay? The
Correct.
200, you get 24, and you can get all the way to 200. Okay?
Yep.
But then the virtual extensions can be more than that, because you can have a virtual extension that can be used essentially, for example, to forward to a cell phone, for example, or to be used as a notification extension. Okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Next question up was, is there any promotion or is there a promotion to encourage clients who are on older Quadros to move to the new QX series? Although the Quadro works well, it may be hard to migrate.
Yeah. Well, we haven't, we don't have an official promotion. What we have taken is on a case-by-case basis. What we have done before is that if you have a Quadro that has several licenses and the customer wants to migrate to the QX, we have actually taken it on a case-by-case basis an additional discount to be able to do the migration of the licenses. So pretty much you may buy the unit at a normal price from Alloy, but then if you want to, we look at the licenses and then we'll give you a special discount to be able to do the migration. Okay? So the answer is yes, but we don't have anything that is in paper and says this is what you get. We'll encourage you to bring forward through Alloy what are the specific needs, and we'll certainly will give you a concession on that.
Yep. Okay, next question. Are the license prices located on the portal upon login? If you want to get licensing for any of the QX products or the licenses to go with it, you can get that from the Alloy website. If you log in with your EasyBuy portal details, you can get the pricing off our price list. Alternatively, if you speak to your account manager and let them know what sort of licensing you're after, they'll also be able to give you the price that you're after. Okay. So I hope that answers your question, Ellie. So pricing, again, from the Alloy website when you log in via EasyBuy, or alternatively by speaking to your account manager.
Yeah.
Okay. Beyond that, the next question we've got here, I have a client that's asked me this. An inbound caller is directed to auto attendant, prompted for their current location to be redirected to the nearest branch. Okay. The client is to enter the current postcode based on a table of postcodes, each mapped to a selected branch. The caller is redirected to the designated branch. So you're looking for a way to redirect callers based on the input they've put in this case being a postcode. We've got a table set up somewhere to handle that. That's nothing you can do in the Epygi PBX as far as I'm aware, unless I'm mistaken, Mario.
Okay.
Taking that level of input.
You mean that if the call comes in to an auto attendant and then because of the caller ID?
No, based on user input.
Okay. Like for
So
example, you enter an option number instead of just option. Well,
to give you some context, Mario, sorry to cut you off there. Actually, we use 4-digit postcodes based on the region that we're in. Okay, so what this particular customer has asked for, if when they call up to the main head office or the main branch, they'll enter in their 4-digit postcode, which will indicate what area they're in. What they're looking for is a way to validate that data input and then hand that off to a PBX located in that person's area or the closest one to that area. That's something I believe it can be done.
Well, I think with the 3PCC interface you can do it, because you have to go, you essentially want to do a lookup table, and the postcode is going to be as many as 10,000 entries, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I mean with 3PCC you can do that, but can you do that through a call routing table? I'm not sure. Let me take
Okay.
essentially a note on that question, and then I'll reply back to you, and you can get it back to the customer. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All right, Ali, so we'll get Mario to look into that for us, and we'll come back to you once we've got some more details on that one.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I'm just having a look now. Is there a limit into the number of multiple auto attendants? No, auto attendant is a virtual extension on the QX Series PBX. As far as I'm aware, and I've never seen an upper limit
Yeah.
for
Well, there's
how many auto attendants you can create,
there
or
is
I've never
a
pushed it beyond 10.
yeah. Well, there is a limit, but I think the
Okay.
practical limit is large. I mean, I don't know. You can probably do 30 or 40. I don't have it
Yeah.
in front of me. We do have. No, practically speaking, there is no limit. You know, you can have as many as you want on the
Yep.
product. But memories, you know, yeah, you can
Memory is
do
obviously an issue.
200. Yeah, yeah. So
Yep.
I would take that as a question and give you a reply on that too.
Okay. Okay, so I think that's all
Okay.
the questions we've got at the moment. So I'm just having a quick look now. So a couple ones to come back to. I've got Ali and Paul to come back to on the limits for
Okay.
the auto tenant, as well as that that lookup table, sort of reference
Okay.
via an auto tenant or something similar. But other than that, I believe that is all the questions we have here.
Okay.
There's no other questions at all. Just want to make sure. No, and that's it. So, look,
Okay.
guys, thank you very, very much for attending. Thank you very much, Mario, for going through all that with us. I've certainly gained a little bit more insight into some of the new features that we've got, and
Yes.
some of the scenarios, particularly the school one. That was a very interesting one for me. So looking at that as a way to handle that sort of call scenario.
That's right. And like I said, and I want to reemphasize, if you're not registered in our portal, register in our portal. Shoot us questions. You know, we're here to help you. You know, we think that with your input and your needs is what really helps us migrate the product and make it better. So we encourage you to communicate with us as you please. And again, if we need to do demos for you, we will. And throughout it, we're going to schedule tech training there at favorable Australian times. Okay.
Okay. No, sounds
Very
good.
well. You guys
Okay.
have a great day. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks, Mario. Thanks, guys. All right. Bye.